Hey Reader fam! Today I'm going to be sharing with you the books that I read in the month of August. And this is the point of the year when I go, holy crap, this year is going by way too fast. How is August already coming to a close? This is not okay. Slow down time, slow down. Anyways, I'm really proud of myself because I read every book that I planned to read in the month of August. And if you had been watching my videos over the summer, then you'll know that I fell into a big reading slump, but I feel like I'm out of that reading slump and it feels dang good. So without further ado, let me share with you guys the books that I read in the month of August. The first book I read this month was Harry Potter and the Cursed Child by J.K. Rowling and Jack Thorne. Now, I know this is not a book. A lot of you guys will be like, Jesse, that's not a book, it's a script. I know it's a script, but it's in book form, so it's technically a book. I'm counting it as a book, so shh. I'm not gonna say what this book is about because I don't want to spoil it for you guys, but if you haven't read it yet, you should go into this book just open-minded, try to throw your expectations out the window and just enjoy it for what it is. I personally didn't hate it, I didn't love it either though. Overall, I just had a good time reading it, and it was so fun to be reunited with so many characters from the Harry Potter series. A few of the things that I had problems with in regards to this book is the fact that some of the characters just felt a little bit off to me, but at the same time, this book takes place 19 years after the last Harry Potter book. It picks up right where Deathly Hallows left off, so we don't really know what happened in those 19 years. But I also just wasn't a huge fan of the direction of the plot, and there was also quite a few plot holes. But there were quite a few things that I did love, like I loved Scorpius. What a fantastic freaking character. Like, I'm so glad that we got to learn about Scorpius and we got to hang out with him in this book. I did like Albus too, but I didn't like Albus as much as I liked Scorpius. And also, that trolley witch though. If you want to hear all my thoughts on this book, I will leave a link down below to my full video book review and discussion. Then I read And I Darken by Kiersten White, and this was the Booksplosion book of the month for the month of July. And our live show was in early August, which I will leave a link down below to that live show if you missed it. But this is an alternate history retelling of Vlad the Impaler, but instead of Vlad being a boy, he's a girl. This book was so much better than I was expecting it to be. I have kind of a bad history with Kiersten White's books. I've read 3 of her other books and I just wasn't a huge fan of them. Her books are usually a miss for me, but this was a hit. And I'm so happy that it was because I almost didn't give her another chance. I almost had gotten to the point where I was like, I've given you enough chances. I don't think I want to read any more of your books. But then this book was chosen as our book of the month, so I was forced to read this book, but I'm so glad that I was because I ended up really enjoying it. This book was just so detailed in its descriptions and its historical elements. And it covers a lot of topics throughout the story that I wasn't expecting it to cover. One of those things being religion, and I just found that so interesting. And another thing that I really loved about this story is that we have an epic bond between a brother and a sister, and I just loved that so much. I loved seeing them come together and work together, and I loved their love for each other. Even though they do have a really complicated relationship, I just really loved seeing their relationship. I will say that this is a slow-moving story. It certainly took me time to really get into it. I feel like this is a book that you might have to be in the right mood for, because if you're not in the right mood for it, then I'm not sure that you'll end up fully appreciating it. So I think you might have to be just in the right mindset. So you have to be like in the mood for historical fiction. I do have a full video book review for this book, so I will leave a link to that video down below. Then I read Furthermore by Tahereh Mafi. This is Tahereh Mafi's first venture into middle grade fiction, and I thoroughly enjoyed this book. I just love Tahereh Mafi's writing style. It's just delicious. It's so good, so poetic, so beautiful. This story follows a girl by the name of Alice, and her father has gone missing, and so she goes out on this mission to find him, but the thing is, she must venture through the world of Furthermore, which is this crazy, twisted, and complicated world. So like I said, I'm pretty obsessed with Tahereh Mafi's writing style, and you could just see so much growth within this story. It's definitely very different in tone compared to her other trilogy, the Shatter Me trilogy, but I still really enjoyed it. This book is just so vibrant, even though Alice herself lacks color. The whole world of Furthermore was just so colorful. I did have a few issues with this book though, the first one just being the world of Furthermore. As beautiful as it was, it's so complicated and so hard to understand, and I felt like every 5 pages there were new rules being added to Furthermore, and it was so hard to wrap my mind around the world. And the other problem I had was with the character Oliver. I just felt like he wasn't fleshed out enough. I wanted to get to know him a little bit more, which is sad because the bits we do get of Oliver, I really enjoyed his character, but I felt like we just didn't get enough from him. But for the most part, I really enjoyed this book. I do have a full video book review on this book as well, so if you want to know all my thoughts, I will leave a link to that video down below. Then I read Between Worlds by Skip Brittenham, and this story follows Mayberry and Marshall, who are 2 misfits just tired of their lives, and so one day they go to this tree called the Wishing Tree, which it's rumored that if you wish upon this tree, your wishes will come true. And so they wish wish for their lives to be changed, but what ends up happening is that they're transported into this alternate world full of magical creatures, and they realize that it's not that great and they want to get back to the real world, so they must figure out a way to get back to the real world. This was a really fun read, but it wasn't anything more than that. Like, this book did not blow my mind in any way. The writing was pretty average and there was a lot of cliches throughout this book, and also the two main characters aren't the most likable, which isn't a bad thing, but they kind of annoyed me at some points. But this book did have an addictive quality to it. Like, once I started reading it, I couldn't put the book down. And I think when the story really started to grow on me is when they're actually transported into this new world and their magical abilities come into play, because they unlock magical abilities when they're in this new world. And that's when the story just became so much more fascinating, and when they go up against these creatures and just seeing how they get back to the real world. So there are a lot of interesting and entertaining things that happen throughout this story. It just takes a bit of time to get to that point. If you're looking for a fun and adventurous book, then definitely check out Between Worlds. I will have a full video book review on this book coming soon, so keep your eyes peeled for that. And finally, the last book I read this month was Bedtime for Batman. That's right, I read a picture book and it was epic. It actually wasn't the best thing ever. I've read better picture books, but I still really liked this one. This story basically compares a child's life to a superhero's life and how they're similar in a lot of weird ways. And I really liked it. It was a nice little story. I'm glad I took the 3 minutes out of my life to read this because I enjoyed it. So those are all the books that I read in the month of August. You guys should let me know down below what books you read in the month of August. What book was your favorite? Let me know down below. Also, if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. I post videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, so click subscribe if you want to be notified for when I post new videos. Thanks for watching, guys, and I will see you soon with a new video. Bye, chew. And if